Hey everyone, today we have a Korean isekai for you today. We start our story off by being introduced to our main character waking up in a medieval type castle. As he takes his first steps, the first thing he notices is how his appearance has made a drastic change. He's woken up with brown hair, a bit out of shape, but most noticeably, he has this blue screen that's appeared in front of him. This screen reads his name being Rasen, talent being magic combat, and trait being flawed plausibility. We cut back right away to the present time when he woke up on day number one to a maid excessively apologizing to him, obviously scared that she may have done something wrong. Rasen quickly notices that she doesn't really look Korean or West like a Westerner, and is obviously confused at his own whereabouts, so he naturally asks, "Where am I?" But out of nowhere, the maid drops her head to the ground in apology. Rasen, seeing this, asks if she's okay, but it's too late. She's already knocked herself out, and this was the event that took place on day one. Later that same day, a small, slim boy shyly walks into his room. He bows and states that he's there to do his daily log. Initially confused, but as he watches the boy complete his log, he remembers that all nobles have their early life recorded until their pilgrimage at the age of 14. Noticing that Rasen was standing right behind him, the boy is startled, accidentally spilling over his ink. He immediately apologizes and says that he would clean it up right away, but it was too late. Rasen's body instinctively moved on its own and kicks the poor boy. On the second day, his memories really start to flood back in. He remembers that at the age of 4, he used to beat up his servants using a toy stick. One of those servants happened to be Hampton, the scribe boy who was doing his daily log. No wonder he flinched. At the age of 5, he learned the truth behind his birth. His mother, Soso, was a servant of the patriarch Decatra, and he was their bastard child. Knowing this, he would constantly backtalk his own mother. And now the real big incident happened when he was 8.5 years old. Trying to be a true edgelord, he beat up a girl named Rosalind, a 6-year-old and the only daughter of a renowned martial clan. And because of this event, the Katra, the head of his family, had to bow in shame and apologize to the head of the martial clan, bringing great dishonor to him and the Mating clan. And so, really, before the age of 9, Rasen had been semi exiled from the family and was forced to move to the outskirts to live out the rest of his life. And since then, nothing has changed. And so we flash back to the pre isekai time where he used to write novels in his spare time. And he remembers that Rasen was a character in his novel that he wrote himself. And he remembers that he wrote him as a real bastard, and as you can see, or he really is. However, he's never actually wrote such a detailed backstory for this side character he created just in case. This character was supposed to be a filler. And therefore, the events that occurred for Rasen are events that occurred naturally in this world. It just happened to happen organically. Jumping back to the isekai world, on that third day, he comes to terms and decides that he can't stay in shock. He has to accept that he's been transported into another world. He realizes that he really doesn't know much about Rasen as a character because he never wrote what kind of face or abilities he had. This character was supposed to only appear once in a blue moon, and if he ever needed to use it, like I mentioned, a true filler character. The only thing prepared just in case when he wrote this novel was that he had a real talent for magic combat, just in case, but never explained it further because he ended up not using this character at all. And so in the end, because he didn't use this character, his talent didn't really matter, and decided to get rid of him at the age of 17 using the power struggle for the throne in the Mating clan as an excuse to execute him. Having this information, he decides to prioritize his survival as the number one goal. Obviously, doesn't want to get axed by the time he's 17. And sorting through his information, all the information that he has, he realizes that he's currently only 9 years old and still has 8 years to live before the incident happens. But even if he fights hard and doesn't get executed, he still has to fight against the real main character Cassin from the Sword Clan. Unfortunately, the Maiden clan is fated to fight the Sword clan because Dekatra, the patriarch of Maiden, ends up accidentally killing the first son of the Sword clan. Not sure how you accidentally kill somebody, but it happens. And in the end, the two clans wage war, and this is known as the War of Sword and Magic. The sword being Cassin's clan's specialty, and magic being Rasen's clan's specialty. Unfortunately, as the novel of the book suggests, the Sword Clan in the end is victorious and the Maiden Clan is almost wiped out. But as he wonders what to do next, he realizes that even though this was a flimsy novel that he wrote on the side while doing his day job, he is the creator of this world and knows all the strokes of luck, fate encounters, all these things were created by himself, and he basically knows the future. Thinking that he only gets one shot at life anyways, he decides to, it's not bad living a life of luxury as the youngest son of a clan regarded as one of the big three. And because his magic combat ability wasn't exactly fleshed out, he really didn't know what the true extent of his own power was. And the next moment, he notices this blue screen pop up with a notification that reads, "The will of the character Rasen Maten has been activated," and a second line saying, "The Divine Eye ability has been activated." Now, what really caught his attention was this Divine Eye ability. Now, what really caught his He quickly realizes that the words and the blue screen he was seeing was the effect of this ability called Divine Eye. But what really shocked him was that ability, Divine Eye, was something he had only given to the real protagonist of the novel, Cassin, from the Sword Clan, but decided to dismiss this thought because at the moment he was transferred to this new world, there was no such thing as normal anymore. Everything was abnormal. Thinking about how to overcome the main character's ability, he realizes that he made Cassin from the Sword Clan so overpowered to the point where he could destroy an entire continent by himself. And the major problem was this exact ability was going to be used to destroy his own clan. And all of a sudden, Rasen notices a blue ring floating in front of him. He notices right away that he wasn't exactly seeing this with his eyes, but sensing this with his divine eye ability. And to detect this blue mana ring formed around the heart is a vital part of using magic, as it allows the user to use it as a battery. And so, meaning the stronger the battery or the more rings equals more power. And in the story he wrote, to unlock these first rings takes years of studying and training and often requires a lot of patience and money. And there's no way that this reject of a character had the patience to study or train. But suddenly he hears a knock on the door, and in comes a maid named Hera, who comes in right away and kneels onto the floor, but remembers this was something he had made her do before, but he notices something. He notices that Hera's main attribute was assassination. This meant that someone had purposely placed an assassin next to him just in case they needed to get rid of him. He then tells the maid to go get some Verdant chocolates and get out. Being perceptive, the assassin maid Hera notices that Rasen's attitude was slightly different from before, strangely different, but decides to dismiss it. Thinking about the information he has, we know that Rasen has been exiled to a place called the Maple Annex. He's been completely pushed out of his father's sight and out of line of succession to be the head of the Magic Clan, but this could be seen as a blessing in disguise because the main clan had the role of the main antagonist of this story, in this story. And as the creator of this novel he's stuck in, he knows his own future, fate, and where all the ancient artifacts are located. Using this knowledge, he needs to somehow rejoin the succession for the throne, and really, if he doesn't, he'll be known as the trash of the Maiden family, which he already is, so it's not much of a change. And even if things don't work out, being positive here, at least he can eat all he wants without worry for money. He can travel all over the place because he's semi exiled and under the radar. and live a free and luxurious lifestyle like he's never done before. Suddenly, he gets a notification that his Divine Eye ability will end because of insufficient mana. And later on that same day, we have Hera the Assassin Maid return to bring bad news that she couldn't get a hold of these bougie Verdant chocolates. And to this, he just responds, "That's fine," which was completely unexpected because Hera was expecting to be punished and to be ridiculed, not a simple "that's fine," and ended up being confused by the response. And not wanting to raise any suspicion here, he tells and yells at her to leave the room. But the initial "that's fine" wasn't hard enough, and being the perceptive maid she is, she's caught on to him. Because normally Rasen would throw a massive fit, a tantrum. A week goes by since then, and Hampton the scribe boy is told to get ready by Rasen. And when asked where they're going, he's told that they're going to the training annex, which is a dojo or just a place you go to train against different types of monsters. Trying to keep up his persona after being questioned, he yells at Hampton, who runs off and says that he'll make an appointment right away. Compiling his thoughts he's had throughout the week and roughly sorting them out to survive, he really needs to join the succession battle for the throne, act like a decent human being, and train hard to become independent. And really, to do this, he needs critical information and he needs to confirm a couple of things. The first being his first magic circle, second being the magic combat trait, and the third being his divine eye ability. Thank you for watching part one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with the next part soon.